Hi folks, David Waring here again with InformedTrades.com and today's lesson of the day. In our last lesson we looked at basic candlestick formations and what they can tell us about how much control buyers or sellers had during a particular time period. In today's lesson we're going to look at some candlestick formations and what they tell us when looked at in the context of recent price action. So let's get started.
Okay, so the first pattern that we're going to look at, or the first candlestick type that we're going to look at, is what's known as a spinning top. And a spinning top, as you can see here, is a candlestick with a short body in the middle of two longer wicks. When this forms in the market, it's indicative of a situation where neither buyers nor sellers have won that time period, so to speak, as the market is closed relatively unchanged from where it opened. The upper and lower wicks tell us that at one point the buyers were in control, driving the market up to the top to form the top high there, and also at one point the sellers were in control. But at the end of the time period, the market had closed, close to where it opened, and this is indicative of a market condition with some indecision in the market. If this type of candlestick forms in a range-bound market, the range-bound market is already indicative of indecision in the market, so that doesn't really tell us anything. However, if this type of pattern forms after a trend in the market, then that indecision can represent a turning point or a reversal point in that trend. So you can see here we have a downtrend, and then we have a spinning top which forms at the bottom of that downtrend, representing some indecision in the market there, and sort of a warning sign that that trend may be reversing. Now obviously hindsight's 20/20 here, and this pattern is going to show up sometimes and the market's not going to reverse, so you're going to want to confirm this with other things, but this is just a good example of a situation where the spinning top and the indecision that does represent did cause a market reversal here. Another candlestick pattern which is similar to the spinning top in terms of representing indecision in the market is called the Doji. And the difference between the spinning top and the Doji is the Doji, the market closes almost or right at exactly where it opened. And this is considered a stronger signal to most traders than the spinning top, because the fact that the market with the spinning top, the market didn't close exactly where it opened because it has a body, where here the candlestick doesn't even have a body because the market opened exactly where it closed, indicating a lot of indecision in the market. And again here, if this forms after or during a range-bound condition in the market, that's already indicative of a lot of indecision in the market, or the battle between the buyers and the sellers not being won by either. However, if this pattern forms after a trend in the market, we can look to this as a potential for a reversal in the market. So you can see here, you have an uptrend in the market. You have a Doji here that forms as a part of that uptrend, and then we have a reversal that comes after that. Now, in this example, I'm using a stochastic here to confirm that this might be a good place to place a trade. And when traders find these indecisive type candlestick formations like the spinning top and the Doji, when the market is in an uptrend and it's in overbought conditions, or in a downtrend it's in oversold conditions, they're going to place extra emphasis on that. So you can see here we were in an uptrend, we have an overbought condition, we have a Doji, and in addition to that, we have divergence here. We have the market rallying up to new highs, and we have the stochastic going lower as the market does that. So we do have a divergence there on the stochastic, which, if you remember from our lessons on stochastics, a divergence in overbought conditions is indicative of a potential reversal. So we have sort of two things confirming there. Then we do have the sell-off that results after that. The purpose of the InformedTrades.com community is to create a community of traders who are looking to learn together without all the hype and false information that's associated with a lot of trading education. So if you haven't done so already, I encourage you to not only visit InformedTrades.com, but every page on the site has a comment section, so I encourage you to actively participate and share your knowledge in places where you're knowledgeable, and ask questions in places where you may need to brush up on. Okay, so that's our lesson for today. In our next lesson, we're going to look at several other or several more candlestick charting patterns similar to this lesson. So I hope to see you in that lesson. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below or visit the questions section at informedtrades.com. And have a great day.